This is the story of that theft which did not let the world's top investigation agency breathe easy for 6 years. Not one or two, but this theft was worth 29,000 rupees crores. How did it take just one phone call for a $3.5 billion thief to lose so much money? Cheetos. How was it hidden in a small container, and above all, after the recovery of the money, why did the person to whom it actually belonged turn away from this money once again in the videos of Myst Gloom? Happy Nazreen on the 13th of September, 2019, a boy named Jimmy Jung made an emergency call on 911. This is how his life happened. There was a phone call which was going to land him in big trouble. Jimmy Jung lived in a small town named Athens in the US state of Georgia. He had called the police to report a theft in his house, and when the police officer asked, he was told that $4 lakh had been stolen from his house. Hearing such a huge amount, the police officer got a bit interested. Jimmy had installed an excellent security system at his house, and he had CCTV footage of the thief entering the house. Also present was Jimmy Jung with his face covered. Jimmy Jung was a grudge Jew of the University of Georgia, and he was known as a party boy among his friends. He used to spend $5 lakh, i.e. about 1.25 crore rupees in every party. When he went to a bar, he would buy free drinks for all the people present there. Most of his friends supported him only out of greed for money and debauchery. Even their own Jimmy once gathered his friends and took them all to Los Angeles in a private jet to watch the match of his favorite football team. So the only thing I want to say is that Jimmy has very little edge. I had so much money that perhaps even he himself was not able to handle it. When the police failed to discover the burglary at his house, they hired a private detective named Martinelli because of Jimmy's lifestyle and friend circle. That this theft was done by one of his friends, that is why Martinelli, to study his case thoroughly, took a look at Jimmy's personal life, such as his social media accounts and transactions in his bank accounts. This private detective was also worried. What is Jimmy's source of income behind spending so much at such a young age? Jimmy used to tell everyone that he is a Bitcoin trader and crypto investor. Seeing the rising prices of Bitcoin in the last few years, everyone used to believe it. Martinelli said that the boy who is seen entering his house in the video footage knew everything, that Jimmy was not at home. And when should he take action, which shows that he is definitely a close friend of Jimmy. It was not that the Athens police had made a connection with Jimmy for the first time. A few years ago also, he was caught in the case of possessing cocaine. Paid off, and since then Jimmy had very good behavior with the police officers, often in Athens. The police also used to investigate some other cases using the CCTV cameras installed at his house, but this time, due to the call made to 911, Jimmy had become quite highlighted in the eyes of the police. During this time, the regional cybercrime unit also came to know about it. That $4 lakh have been stolen from Jimmy Jung's house, and he calls himself a Bitcoin trader. They doubted that Jimmy had only Bitcoins, but where did so much money come from? This regional cybercrime unit of the La Silk Road was investigating the case of crypto heists for 7 years, but for so long they have not found a single case. Hints were not received. Silk Road was an online exchange where all the wrong things were done. From weapons to drugs, many illegal things were traded here, and its transactions were done in Bitcoins. In 2012, this exchange got hacked and someone stole a total of 51,680 Bitcoins from all the traders. But because it was an illegal dark website. For this reason, no one reported this theft. The very next year, the owner of Silk Road was caught, and the FBI shut down the site and took all the Bitcoins into their possession. 170,000 Bitcoins were recovered from the owner of Silk Road, but 51680 Bitcoins were still missing, which had actually already been stolen by a hacker. The FBI felt that perhaps the owner of Silk Road had transferred it to some other account, and now he is lying to us. The transactions of Bitcoin's defer accounts are completely transparent, anyone can see them. But only the owner of the account is not known. The regional cybercrime unit suspected whether Jimmy Jung had any connection with the Bitcoin stolen from the Silk Road account. For that, it was necessary to first find out Jimmy's Bitcoin address. What is this? For this work, Athens Police and Regional Cyber Crime Unit together made a plan to meet Jimmy because the police were already investigating his case of $4 lakh. That is why this meeting was absolutely normal for Jimmy. 3 plainclothes officers entered Jimmy's house with body cams. They assured Jimmy that he was none other than someone else in connection with the investigation of those $4 lakh. Tried to ask Jimmy what his source of income was. On this, Jimmy took him on a tour of his room where 2 Bitcoin miners were kept. There was also a blockchain expert in the team of the Regional Cybercrime Unit. He immediately guessed that 2 to 4 Bitcoin mining machines could not generate as much wealth as Jimmy spends. During this conversation, an officer accessed Jimmy's laptop and copied Bitcoin address. This was just one of Jimmy's many Bitcoin addresses, but it was enough to establish a connection with the Silk Road crypto heist. It was exactly on target. Of course, there was no significant amount of money in this Bitcoin address, but the link of its transaction history was matching with the account of Silk Road many years ago. It was proved that Jimmy definitely has some connection with the heist of Silk Road. Was searching for those 51,000 Bitcoins, which he thought were present with Jimmy. He once again contacted Jimmy and fixed a meeting with him, but this time he was against him. Search warrants were taken. When Jimmy found out, his face paled. The officers started searching his house, playing with each tile, checking to see if Jimmy had made a secret storage box. Finally, they found a container of Cheetos. It came with a small towel lying inside it. When they saw a piece of towel in the snack container, they got suspicious, so they took it out. Under the towel, they saw a small computer chip lying there. It was a hard wallet of Bitcoins. 51,000 Bitcoins were still present and their value in 2020 was $3.5 billion. Jimmy Jung was now badly trapped. While trying to catch the thief of his $4 lakh, he had lost 51,000 Bitcoins. Jimmy told the officers that to fulfill his habit, he used to go to Silk Road Exchange and buy drugs from there. One day in 2012, when he was withdrawing his Bitcoins from there, then he noticed a loophole in the website. Jimmy also had a good knowledge of blockchain. So, using that loophole, he started withdrawing the Bitcoins of the users of other websites as well. When he withdrew 51,680 Bitcoins, the owner of Silk Road came to know that according to the value of Bitcoin at that time, this amount was $. Lakhs were made. The owner of Silk Road knew that he could not complain to the police, so he sent a private message to Jimmy and asked him what loophole he had found in the website. Jimmy told him the loophole of the website, in return for which he returned the stolen money. Bitcoins forgiven, Athens Police, FBI and Regional Cybercrime Unit had now solved the many-years-old case. In 2023, Jimmy Jung was arrested in a wire fraud case. Sentenced to 1 year and 1 day. This is considered to be the biggest Bitcoin high in the history of the US. If Jimmy had not called 911 that day, perhaps he would have been roaming free today along with his Bitcoins, but this phone call brought Jimmy down from the sky to the ground in one stroke. FBI issued a notice to the real owner of the seized 51,000 Bitcoins asking anyone who suffered losses in the 2012 Silk Road crypto heist to come forward and claim their Bitcoins. But the surprising thing was that not a single person came forward because coming forward means that he had a Silk Road Pay account and the only thing that means that he was involved in some criminal activity is hope. Myst Gloom, we hope that you all will like and share this video a lot. Thank you very much for your loving comments. See you in the next great video.